An incident that we have especially talked about in the last 48 hours was an incident that took place over the weekend, where there are a lot of questions as to what CPD was able to do, what they did do, what they did not do in that area. A lot of conversation online about it. Some even officials have tweeted out different things in terms of the fact that CPD wasn't at the scene, didn't help federal agents. But we also saw right here on the show, 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, Superintendent Snelling coming out and say absolutely his officers were there on the scene and that he was proud of them for their ability to get there in the time that they did to help out. So I want to bring in Sean Morrison, Cook County Commissioner, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what you've called the breakdown of law enforcement cooperation and the controversy over sanctuary policies. Thanks for your time. Thank you for being here. I can't hear you. Would you just let me know that I...
Yes, how's that better?
Okay, much better. You
Okay.
said that this was a crisis created by reckless ideology and political cowardice. Those are super strong words. When you watched the superintendent, I hope, speak yesterday, what was your reaction to his words?
Well, I think his words have gotten better yesterday and today as well when he's being crystal clear now on that law and order need to be enforced, that any of the aggressors that are out there that are attacking our federal or our local police officers need to be arrested and prosecuted. That language, that message, I think is spot on. Unfortunately, as it pertains to the statement that I put out the other day, this is a crisis that didn't just land on our lap. This is a crisis that's been in the making for over 3 years here in the state of Illinois, the county of Cook, and the city of Chicago. By pushing the sanctuary laws and the ordinances that bar our local law enforcement personnel, the men and women that are out there every day, from working with our federal agents to make safe apprehensions on retainers and warrants, that's reckless and it's unintentional. And it is what has led us to the active chaos that we see in the streets today. When we have our law enforcement folks coming on, in this case, the Chicago Police Department, showing up on site, you can listen to the dispatches. I happen to have family members and friends that are Chicago police officers for several decades and several generations in my family, and I understand how this works. You could hear in those dispatchers' words re-questioning the commander and the watch commander, re-questioning them. Are we sure we're really not going to send our folks in? And they were ordered to stand down. Now, less than 6 months ago, Governor Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, our mayor, were in front of Congress where they testified that there are no orders. There's never been given any orders that they can't interfere. And that needs to be questioned and looked into, by the way, because I think they lied to Congress when they did that.
And the superintendent did say there was no stand down order. He reiterated that yesterday in his press conference, but he did say that there were some issues with communication, so they were doing an after action report. So is it your opinion that sanctuary policies then should be scrapped or amended?
They should be suspended immediately. So what's most important is that the mayor and the governor communicate with ICE, with DHS immediately, with our FBI folks that I see in here, with ICB, and they start to communicate a plan to where they allow the men and women, the federal agents, to go into our Cook County court systems, our state jail systems, to go into our county jail and actually get those folks that are on retainer that they've asked for, and those that have warrants. When we're trying to arrest people in the street because we have no other choice, because we're having zero cooperation, that's when this spills over in the street, and that is a public safety risk.
Okay, I want to get, before I let you go, to your 5-point plan. And I assume a little bit of what you just spoke of was a part of it. So go over your 5-point plan here. And like I said, you do say suspend sanctuary policies in there, but go over the rest of your points.
So, it's a start, right? I've not heard anybody talk about how we could fix this at this state. So part of what I've talked about is, for a path forward, is we've got to stop with the political theater. This incessant going on television every single day by the governor and by the mayor, daring the federal authorities, castigating them, demonizing them, and all that kind of stuff. That's got to stop. So that's number one. We need to we need to enforce law. Okay, everybody has a right to protest. I support that 100%. Every law enforcement official does. You have the right to protest. The moment that your protest transitions from a protest into blocking ingress and egress, into blocking traffic, into throwing bottles and bricks and hitting people with cars and things of that nature, you've broken the law. You must be immediately apprehended and arrested. That's number 2. So we need to end the lawlessness. Number 3, we need to suspend the sanctuary policies immediately and allow our law enforcement personnel, our prosecutors, to work with the federal authorities that are out there to get this done. It's also very important that the mayor and the governor actually, again, tap the rhetoric down and actually communicate with DHS, communicate with the administration through Trump's administration.
And let me pause you on that because
Sure.
This morning the mayor was speaking, and obviously communication goes two ways. He talked about the fact that he's never heard directly from the president or the administration about troop deployment, which is taking place as we speak. So what's your reaction to the fact that maybe they're not getting communication either about things that are happening?
So he said that this morning, Sloan. However, yesterday, right, it's already in ample press that the governor himself came out and said that he received notification that our National Guard troops are coming in, yesterday afternoon. So who's zooming who here, as they say? Okay. So, and by the way, the White House and the federal administration, DHS, has been trying to communicate with the governor and the mayor going back to the beginning of February of this past year.
Well, let's move
DHS Holman was out here in January of this past year, tried to communicate. Both Pritzker and Brandon Johnson refused to meet with him on 2 separate occasions. So they're plainly misleading. And the funny part is why are you going to mislead the general public when it's so easily disprovable?
All right, point number 5.
Number 5 is we need to develop, which is most important. We need to develop a long-term repatriation plan. Under the Biden administration, they've left anywhere from 18 to 23 million people come in, and they were put on a status called paroled. Okay? We don't know who these folks are. We don't know where they're at. Mm-hmm. As human beings and compassion, we have to develop very simple. We need to create a organized plan to get through there. DHS has done that with the Return to Your Nation plan, but we need to facilitate that at a much larger place, and we need all of the local and state governments throughout the entire country to cooperate with that effort. To have the majority of the folks that have come here under a paroled status, the vast majority do not fall within the description of what a paroled status is, and they need to go back to their nations of origin. Okay. And we need to do that. We need to do all these things in a contemporaneous manner. It's not one or the other. It's everything happening at the same time.
That's your number 4, and your number 5 was to lower the rhetoric.
My number 5 goes from we need to stop it. We need to agree to this. We need to stop the rhetoric. We need to stop negative rhetoric. Calling our agents and calling our men and women in law enforcement, bootjack thugs, demonizing them, calling them Nazis, calling them fascists, calling them criminals. This morning Johnson was on there basically calling them criminals, saying that perhaps the city of Chicago needs to charge municipal criminal codes against our federal agents. He said that this morning too. That's not the way to be, that coming from a major of our 3rd largest city in the country.
True. And the president also said that, that this was a war zone here in the city of Chicago. So I think everyone on all sides has a bit to do when it comes to lowering that rhetoric for sure. I appreciate your time, appreciate the conversation. I think it's necessary that we all talk from all sides about what we can do to move things forward for sure.
Thank you.